The official hunt for Australia's infamous racists, these nasty people that are so hard to find, well, that hunt has been stepped up again. Victoria's Equal Opportunity Commission has announced a new plan to get more people to dob in the racists it's sure are hiding out in our suburbs. Now, it is true that we do have racists, what society doesn't, and they should be called out, totally. But there's one big problem here. You see, Australia is actually fundamentally a pretty tolerant place, and our racism police can't actually find enough racists. It drives them crazy. Back in 2001 already, the then chairman of the same Equal Opportunity Commission admitted, "I am not aware of any conclusive evidence that suggests that discrimination is increasing." Now, obviously that should have been great news, right? I mean, what a terrific country. Who needs an Equal Opportunity Commission when we're so tolerant? Whoops. Sack all these bureaucrats. We can't have that. So the Commission instead helped to persuade Victoria's Labor government to pass ludicrously tough new anti-vilification laws that created whole new groups of racists it could punish. And sure enough, voila, 2 Christian pastors were duly convicted of being rude to Muslims by quoting what the Quran said about jihad. But unfortunately, that was a conviction so absurd that a judge on appeal criticised the verdict, ordered a new hearing, the complaint was quietly settled. And this keeps happening. 2008, Australia's then Race Discrimination Commissioner, Tom Calner, he complained it was too hard to prove Australians were racist, they'd been discriminating against people. Now, his solution? Yes, let's change our laws. Change our fundamental legal principle that says it's up to an accuser to prove their case. Let's instead, he suggested, make the accused person prove their innocence, presume that they were guilty. Now, thank God that idea was so crazy that even the then Gillard government couldn't swallow that one. And now we've got to today, to this latest announcement, again from Victoria's Equal Opportunity Commission. What is it about Victoria? And again, the problem seems to be not enough racists. As the Commission says, traditionally there are fairly low instances of reporting of racism. In fact, complaints of racism over the past year actually fell. But again, this great news is treated by the Commission as bad news. This Commission says we must push harder to get people to dob in racists, particularly dob in the people we know must be out there being mean to Africans and Muslims.
Know that those complaints figures are actually pretty low when you compare it to the conversations that we have with communities that are affected by racism. We've heard a lot from African and Muslim communities that they would like to share their experiences of racism.
You never win with these guys. If complaints of racism go up, Australia's got a racism problem. If complaints go down, Australia's still got a racism problem, but it's one they're hiding. Well, it seems to me these commissions are all wired to believe that Australians are racist, no matter how good we actually are. Now, there's a couple of obvious dangers here. Encouraging dobbers, and when our racism police are so hungry to believe them, that can create an ugly witch hunt. And second, officials trash-talking Australia like this, teaching new immigrants to believe that this country is worse than it actually is, more racist, more unfriendly, that is unhealthy. But I always want to be helpful. And if our racism police really want to find more racists, I have a suggestion. You see, from their awareness campaigns, it seems that these racism police, like our Federal Human Rights Commission, believe that the only racists we have or should worry about are white ones or Christian ones being mean to black Australians. But if our racism police took on an obvious human truth and realised that all people, black, white, Asian, they can be racist, they might actually catch more. Because here is the irony. Today, on the very same day that I read about this new push to dob in racists, particularly racists being mean to Africans and Muslims, I read 2 news stories that suggest that maybe the racism police are looking in the wrong direction. I read, for instance, the Australian model Adao Mornyang, born in Sudan, has just been sentenced to 3 years probation by a United States court for slapping an air stewardess and racially abusing her during a flight in America. Here's some of her racist rant.
Right now, I am disturbing everybody else because of you, white trash. You're my flight attendant. I'm supposed to have some trust in you, no matter my skin color or what. But right now, you're calling the cops on me for some I didn't do because some white ass.
Also today, we read that Year 12 students in Victoria studying health and human development got a practice exam paper that claimed as a fact that Israel has persecuted Arabs, even demolished their homes because they don't practice the Jewish religion. And that, when a person is discriminated against, it could push them to become more dogmatic in following their religion, possibly leading to extremism. And to sum up, blame Muslim terrorism on nasty Jews. But there I go again, thinking it's not just whites who are racist. How racist of me to think that. Someone's sure now to dob me into the Equal Opportunity Commission, and won't it be pleased?